Hey guys, in this video I'm going to go through the top 7 that are told by motocross coaches. And this maybe sounds a bit rough, but you also have to consider that a lot of these coaches, they're actually thinking about telling the right thing, but maybe they're not that educated that they know what is the actual right thing to say. And it's also going to be a little bit fun to go through. And before I get started, make sure that you're subscribed to watch my 4D body position program. Now let's get started. Number 1 is that you should always be standing up. Try to always stand up on the bike, okay? And in case you know basic physics, you will know that this is not true. Because when you're standing up, you have a higher center of mass, okay? So basically every time it's smooth, so that when the track is completely smooth, you can accelerate faster if you're sitting down, okay? So that was number 1. Now number 2 is always be on your toes on the foot pegs, okay? First of all, if you look at most top riders in history, they will be riding on the balls of the foot, okay? So that's this part of the boot instead of this part of the boot, okay? There are some cases in Supercross when you're riding whoops, for example, that you can benefit from being on your toes, but there's a lot more risk involved with that. If your foot pegs are slightly unsharp, then your foot can slip off, and it's not gonna be pretty if that happens. Another case where you should actually not even be on your balls of the feet is if you over jump a jump like Toby he did and lost the Supercross championship this year, 2023. If you over jump a big jump, it's actually a good technique if you can quickly shift your foot position to be on the arch of the foot more towards the heel, because then you won't get a foot injury because the ankle cannot flex or will not flex if you have the foot pegs here when you land. And then you will avoid an injury, like an Achilles snapping or breaking your ankle, basically. Okay, so actually Toby, he could have won that championship if he remembered to use this technique. But of course, he's a lot better than me, and I don't blame him for not shifting his foot position because he actually didn't really overjump that jump. Okay, it was a freak accident that his Achilles tendon snapped. Okay, now number 3, to always ride with your helmet above the handlebars. So this is the attack position, right? But what if it's a race start and you want extra traction? Then you'll see riders ride like this to transfer the weight to the rear wheel, right? And what if you're hogging a jump? Then you'll see people be all the way over the front if you're really charging, if there's good traction, okay? Number 4 is always have your elbows up, okay? Of course, mostly it's correct to have your elbows out, okay? It's absolutely correct technique. But if you look at top riders, when they're really accelerating hard, whether they're standing or sitting, then they allow the elbows to drop slightly to this position instead of this, but this, because you're a lot stronger to pull the handlebars if you want to generate extra traction if you slightly drop the elbows. And by still having the elbows a little bit up, you still have the leverage to apply corrections side to side, which is the purpose of having the elbows up, or the main purpose, I should say. Number 5 is to always ride with your index fingers on the levers, okay? And I totally agree, that is mostly the correct thing to do. But what if you're doing a big whip or a big scrub on a jump? Then it's actually a good idea to not have your index finger on the front brake. The reason for that is, so if you're watching a lot of motocross racing, you will know that there has been people that have accidentally tapped the front brake lever in the air and stopping the front wheel, and then the whip doesn't return to straight, and that results in a big crash, okay? So it's actually a good skill to take off your index finger from the front brake if you're whipping or scrubbing, and then get it back on when you land, okay? Also, if you're going up a very long bumpy hill where you have to pull the handlebars to generate traction, it's a big advantage to grip with all your fingers on the grips, because that will save you energy and it will make it less likely for you to develop arm pump. So some sections where you're really charging and holding on, let's say you're staying in 4th gear, for example, and you're just pulling the handlebars to generate traction, then you will save a lot of energy by having all the fingers gripping instead of just 3, right? Okay, and number 6 is to always have your knees gripping around the airbox area. And of course, yes, that is generally the correct place to grip in the attack position with your knees. But when you're doing jumps and stuff, especially rhythm sections, you have to allow the knees to move around freely with your body position, because you're always searching for the balance to be center balanced on the bike. So if you watch a lot of riders ride rhythm sections or even in motocross jumping through big bumps on sand tracks or something, The knees, they will move around freely all the time and sometimes be near the gas tank, sometimes be further back. So the whole idea of having a static body position is just wrong because it's dynamic, okay? And again, that brings me to my 4D body position program that I'm very excited to publish level number 2 in the coming week. Okay, the last one, number 7, is to always look out of the turn as early as possible. I saw this funny clip with a YouTube coach that had a walkie-talkie, which is a really cool thing to have for coaching. But the only thing he told the rider all the time was just to look up when he was exiting the turns. And it's not always a benefit to look out of the turn super early, unless your name is Tony Cairoli and you're one of the top riders in the world. And the reason is very simple, because if you are in the apex area of the turn and there's a lot of ruts and holes in the turn, then if you look out of the turn already and you're not sure where your front wheel is going through those ruts and bumps, you can be surprised how the bike reacts, or maybe you're even gonna miss the rut if you're looking too far ahead, right? And then you're gonna crash or you're gonna lose control and dab. So you should never look any further ahead in the turn than you're able to manage safely. Or in another way, you should never look any further ahead in the turn than you're completely sure where your front wheel is going through the turn, okay? And whenever you wanna train to look further ahead in the turns, do it incrementally. Just start by looking half a meter or 2 feet further into the turn, and it will already make an improvement on your feeling of comfort going faster in the turn, hopefully. And if it doesn't, if it starts to feel like you have less control when you look too far ahead, well then you're looking too far ahead. You should find the sweet spot where you're in the optimal control and confidence going fast, okay? So that was that. And as you can see, the overall theme of these 7 mistakes, I should say coaching mistakes, is that the body position is dynamic. And whenever a coach uses the word always do like this, it's usually a sign of not knowing all the techniques. But if he says almost always, yep, then he probably knows what he's talking about, because that's what I'm trying to say when I coach people. Almost always do like this, but in this case, it's different, okay? That's how it is with motocross techniques. It's not always black and white, and there are usually exceptions to all the general correct rules that we teach, okay? So in any case, thank you for watching and see you on the next one. To watch the full version of my advanced riding videos and support the development of this channel, click the join button below and become a member. And thereby you will get access to exclusive videos where I go through the most advanced skill levels and also explaining things from a physics standpoint, because I have a background in science and thereby studying physics, so I'm able to explain actual riding technique and the mechanics of riding, also bike setup, in a way that you don't see on many other channels. Also, I share my own step-by-step methods on how I track my own progress and riding technique development. So if you're interested in that, consider becoming a member and clicking the join button. And if you like tropical island holidays, visit fitcamp5.com for my 2-time TripAdvisor award-winning training camp, where we train fitness and action sports together while learning to live a healthy lifestyle and, maybe most importantly, have fun at the same time. And if you're really serious about improving yourself, you should definitely check out my full online courses, where I share step-by-step programs on how I developed my own routines over the last 12 years as a CEO, working in 4 different countries, while being a successful competitive athlete with more than 20 years of experience in fitness and nutrition. Check the link in the description for that. And in any case, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, be awesome, believe in yourself, and see you on the next one.